Hello, welcome to the weekly Main Street Media TV high school football preview show. I'm Scott Stewart, and we're about to take a trip across Middle Tennessee to take a look at all the action on gridiron teams covered by your Main Street Media newspaper. You'll get to hear from our Main Street Media sports editors and writers as they break down the matchups for all your local teams, which means if you're seeing this in Middle Tennessee, we're probably going to be taking a look at your favorite team. Make sure to pick up your local newspapers across Middle Tennessee or find your local newspaper online for our complete coverage of games from your area. To find out if your community is served by a Main Street Media Tennessee newspaper, go to mainstreetmediatn.com. When you find your local newspaper, you can subscribe to the online or traditional versions so you don't miss any of our coverage of local news, sports events, issues, and more. Well, it's time to get started, so here's David Wilson in East Middle Tennessee.
Hey everybody, this is David Wilson, East Middle Tennessee Regional Sports Editor for Main Street Preps. To give you a quick preview of all the Week 5 games across Wilson and Rutherford County this week as we reach the halfway point of the high school football season here in the Mid-State. We'll start things off in Wilson County, where region play is nearly in full swing as we enter the third week of September. A couple region matchups on the docket including Friendship Christian's region opener in the Division II Single A Middle Region as they host Clarksville Academy on Friday night at Purtle Field at 7:30. It's also a homecoming for the Commanders as they're coming off a road loss last week to DeKalb County. Also, another high-profile region matchup in Wilson County this week. It's the Gallatin Green Wave traveling to the Hill on Friday night to face Green Hill, at 7 o'clock. Should be a good matchup between two Division I signal callers in Jackson Strop and Cannon Burrows from Green Hill. Other region matchups in Wilson County this week is MJCA going on the road to the west side of Nashville to take on Nashville Christian. We'll see if an injured Jared Curtis, who's a 5-star quarterback and Georgia commit, makes an appearance this week after sitting out last week when the Nashville Christian played against Clarksville Academy. Other matchups on the docket this week in Wilson County, you have another region matchup with Cookeville traveling to Wilson Central for its region opener. Wilson Central is 4-0 for the first time since 2019. They welcome in the visiting Cavaliers, who are 0-4 on their season. In non-region play, you have the Lebanon Blue Devils, who are 4-0 for the first time since the turn of the century, first time since 1993. They'll travel to the Hendersonville area to face Station Camp, who is 3-1 on its season. We have Jefferson County traveling to the Mid-State to take on Mount Juliet, who is still searching for its first win of the season under head coach Trey Perry. And then we have Watertown after its gutsy and last-minute win versus Giles County last week. They travel to White House Heritage to face Scott Murray and Xavier Murray and the Patriots, which should be a good matchup in White House on Friday night. In Rutherford County, region play already in full swing down there in the Murfreesboro area. We have Oakland traveling to Siegel this week. We also have Riverdale taking on Stewart's Creek. Laverne, who is 0-4 in its season, taking on undefeated Blackman. Blackman's looked really good so far on its season. We have Rockville taking on Smyrna. We have 3-1 Cornersville taking on 2-2 Eagleville. We have Concord Christian, who picked up their first win in TWSLA history over MJCA on the second week of the season. They are taking on MTCS. And then PCA, who is 3-1 on its season, lost last weekend to DCA. They will travel to Notre Dame, who is 1-3 on its season in East Tennessee. So there's a quick preview of the matchups this week. Looking forward to talking to you guys on the wrap-up next week as we continue our high school football season and as we reach, as once again I said, the halfway point. See you then.
Thanks, David. Blaine Kellar is here to tell us all about what we can look forward to in North Central Middle Tennessee.
Hey, Blaine Kellar here to give you games ahead in our North Central region of Main Street Preps. You can find all of these games, stories, photos online at mainstreetpreps.com or in print on the Gallatin News, Hendersonville Standard, Portland Sun, or Main Street Nashville. Lots of fun content coming your way. We'll start in Sumner County. Newly minted passing leader Caden Powell and ETSU running back commitment Shelton Swafford look to extend Beach's strong start when going up against the Upperman Bees and Braunston Chafin on the road. Upperman will present a tall task for the Buccaneers, especially Chafin, the MTSU commitment at quarterback. Gallatin looks to improve upon its 1-0 start in Region 4 6A play when going to Wilson County to take on Green Hill, a veteran, experienced squad that's won a lot of games these past couple of years, gave Gallatin fits a year ago. You can hear all about that matchup on the Green Wave Coaches Show. Hendersonville has its first win of the season, defeating Rossview on the road. James Beasley and company look to make it 2 in a row when starting Region 6 5A play against Hunters Lane. JP2 nearly knocked off FRA in its second Middle Region game of the season. The Knights look to pick up their second Middle Region win in 3 games and look to get back above 500 when facing Good Pasture. Station Camp has a tall task after its first loss. The Bison host undefeated Lebanon on Friday. Liberty Creek looks to get its second win of the season after a 1-3 start. The Wolves will take on Whites Creek in North Nashville. And the last game in the Sumner schedule, a fun one between inter-county teams, Westmoreland and White House, 2 first-year coaches there, with Ryan Harris and Adley Pond. Now, for our Davidson and Williamson readers, we've got 2 great galleries and a few briefs coming up. There are a few Nashville games mentioned in the likes of that last segment. Get ready for what's to come. Franklin Christian Academy, the upstart Falcons, with a few wins in their first season. They take on Donaldson Christian Academy in region action. Excited to see if the Wildcats will look to continue to be a contender in that region, in that classification, or if the Falcons are for real. The other game, Ensworth, who a week ago shocked, stunned reigning state champion McCauley. They take on Lipscomb Academy and quarterback J.C. White, who had a breakout game a week ago against Memphis University School. Cam Blivens, a part of that Mustangs team led by Jamie Graham. And the Hasselbacks, of course, lead Ensworth. Taylor, the Wyoming commitment at quarterback, and Matt and Tim as coaches. Be sure to be on the lookout for all of those games, and we'll see you back here next week for the wrap-up and for next week's preview show.
All right, guys, we got a great start to this week's show, and we're just getting started. There's a lot more action coming up for local teams this week. Let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
He shoots, and he scores!
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
Welcome back, and let's keep the ball rolling with Maurice Patton in Southern Middle Tennessee.
Hey, week 5 of the high school football season down here in Southern Middle Tennessee gets started up as Zion Christian looks to get on the board for the first time this season. The Eagles 0-3 taking on Christian Community in a matchup that was an 8-man football matchup until this year when Zion Christian came back to the TSSAA and resumed playing 11-man. So Christian Community coming into town taking on Zion Christian as the Eagles look for their first victory of the 2025 season. Another team looking for their first win, Spring Hill. The 0-3 Raiders go to 1-2 Maplewood on Friday night. The Raiders led by junior running back / quarterback. Yeah, plays them both. Lionel Brooks ran for a touchdown, threw for a touchdown last week in their loss to Lawrence County, ran for 136 yards in week 4, and he is where the Raiders' bread is buttered. So Maplewood will be looking to stop Lionel Brooks. Lionel Brooks will be looking to lead the Raiders to their first victory of the season Friday night up in North Nashville. Battle Creek got on the board last week, got their first varsity victory against Moore County, and pretty good timing as they head into Region 5 4A play this weekend, traveling over to Windlass Creekwood. The Grizzlies got a big performance out of sophomore Stanley Williams Jr. last week, caught a 95-yard touchdown pass, 4 catches for 115 yards, and that touchdown. Also 6 tackles, 1 for loss, had a couple of picks. One was a 50-yard pick 6. And again, the Grizzlies, led by Stanley Williams Jr., heading on the road to open Region 5-4A play Friday night over at Windlass Creekwood. In Region 5-2A action, speaking of Windlass teams, Scotts Hill comes into Summertown. Scotts Hill 0-4 overall, 0-1 in Region 5-2A action. Summertown 2-2 on the year, 0-1 after dropping a tough decision to visiting Mount Pleasant this past weekend. So the Eagles looking to get even in Region 5-2A and keep Scotts Hill down. This isn't a Region 5-2A matchup, but 5-2A Loretto, who just defeated Scotts Hill last week, goes into a non-region matchup on Friday night as they travel to Collinwood. The Mustangs and the Trojans each 1-3 on the season. Again, the Mustangs coming off that 41-0 win in Region 5-2 action out at Scotts Hill this past weekend. Richland goes on the road as well. The 2-2 Raiders go to Windlass Community, and Richland's schedule has been an interesting one because the Raiders are 0-2 against Class 1A opponents. They lost in their season opener to Wayne County. They lost last weekend in Region 5-1A action over at Huntland, but they've not really been into picking on people their own size because their 2 wins were over Class 4A Spring Hill and Class 3A White House Heritage. So be interesting to see how this one goes this weekend against the Class 3A Vikings out of Unionville this weekend. Again, Richland 2-2 going to 0-4 Community on Friday night. Lincoln County may have one of their best teams in a while. The 4-0 Falcons coming to Summit. Spartans 1-3 and on a 3-game skid as of right now. Should be an interesting matchup here when the Falcons come to town taking on the Spartans. Again, Lincoln County 4-0 out of Class 5A. Summit 1-3 and coming off a tough loss in Region 6-6A action to visiting Ravenwood. Also in Region 6-6A, Independence takes on Coffee County this weekend. The visiting Red Raiders come in at 2-2, 1-0 in region play following their 7-6 win this past weekend over Franklin. Independence 1-2 on the season, 0-1 in region play, and their 2 losses are by a total of 5 points. Lost 23-21 earlier in the season, and I'm forgetting who that was against. Lincoln County. They lost 23-21 to Lincoln County. They lost 31-28 this past weekend in their region opener over at Shelbyville. So a little snake bit have been the Eagles early on. They've got the Red Raiders coming to town on Friday night. Going back into Region 5-2A action, Riverside comes to Mount Pleasant. The host Tigers 3-1 on the year, 1-0 in region play following that 21-14 win last weekend at Summertown. Riverside 0-4 overall, 0-1 in region play. So Tigers with a chance to stack a couple of wins in back-to-back weeks in league action. Keep an eye on that one. Another big ball game this Friday night has Grace Christian coming to Columbia Academy in Division II AA Middle Region action. The Lions have been on a roll, 4-0 overall. This is their region opener. Columbia Academy, 1-3 on the season, 0-2 in region play. Those 2 losses have been to Battleground Academy and to Pope John Paul II. So the Bulldogs looking to snap a 3-game skid as the undefeated Grace Christian Lions come into town. Also, big region 4-5A matchup when unbeaten Lawrence County comes to Columbia Central. A lot of purple and gold in this one. Again, Lawrence County 4-0 under first-year coach Garrick Barnett. Columbia Central 1-2. This will be the region opener for both these teams. And this may be the best team that Lawrence County has seen to this point of the season, so should be an interesting matchup here in Region 4-5A when Lawrence County comes to Columbia Central in an ages-old rivalry here. Big ball game. That's going to do it from Southern Middle Tennessee. I'm Maurice Patton. We'll see y'all next week. Oh, and hey, be sure and check out Nostradamus on MainStreetPreps.com, MainStreetMurray.com, PulaskiCitizen.com, and LawrenceCountyAdvocate.net to see who's going to win all these ball games. We'll talk to y'all next week.
From the south, we'll head to the northwest Middle Tennessee, where we'll find Calvin White.
Hello everybody, this is Calvin White, Northwest Regional Sports Editor for Main Street Preps, here to give you a quick preview of all of the Week 5 high school football action in Montgomery, Robertson, and Houston County. Starting in Montgomery County, Clarksville is hosting McGavock. Clarksville moved to 2-2 last week with their win over Overton, and 2-0 in region play. They're looking to move to 3-0 in Region 7 5A play. With a win over McGavock. Rossview travels to West Creek. Both of those squads enter Week 5 0-4. That'll be a region win for whoever ends up winning that one. East Robertson travels to Kirkwood. Kirkwood and East Robertson both 4-0. Future Tennessee Vol teammates Kamari Blair and Zach Groves will line up against each other in that one. Northeast is hosting James Lawson. Northeast 2-2 after they fell to Kirkwood last week 28-12. On Saturday, Northwest travels to Dixon County. Northwest now 2-2 with their win over Montgomery Central last week. Montgomery Central travels to Hickman County. Montgomery Central dropped to 1-3 last week with their loss to Northwest. Clarksville Academy travels to Friendship Christian. Back-to-back really tough weeks for the Cougars, who fell 58-0 last week to reigning Division IIA state champion Nashville Christian without five-star quarterback and Georgia commit Jared Curtis. Now the Cougars travel to Friendship Christian this week. And finally, in Montgomery County, Kenwood is hosting Pearl Cone. The Firebirds come into that one 0-4. Kenwood comes in 1-3. Moving over to Robertson County, we've got two Thursday night matchups in Robertson County. Greenbrier is hosting Portland. Greenbrier coming in 1-3. Portland fell to 2-2 after they lost to East Robertson last week. And also on Thursday, Joe Burns is hosting Ezel Harding. Joe Burns moved to 3-1 last week with their win over Todd County up in Kentucky. And on Friday, Springfield travels to East Nashville. Springfield looking to move to 5-0 with a win in that one. White House Heritage is hosting Watertown. White House Heritage coming off a 15-12 Rotary Cup win over rival White House. Like I mentioned a second ago, East Robertson traveling to Kirkwood. Both of those squads 4-0. And White House is hosting Westmoreland. White House coming off a close loss to White House Heritage. The Blue Devils enter that matchup 1-3 on the season. And finally, in Robertson County, Innovation Academy is hosting Cheatham County. Innovation Academy is coming off their first win in school history. They beat Lookout Valley 14-13 last week. And finally, in Houston County, the Fighting Irish travel to McEwen to take on the Warriors. The Fighting Irish enter that matchup 2-2. That'll do it for all of our Week 5 preview coverage in the Northwest Central region. I'm Calvin White. I'll talk to you again soon.
Well, we're moving right along, but let's stop for another word from our sponsors.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
When the arena lights dim for a concert, or when the crowd becomes one at a big game, you can almost feel like you're the biggest fan. But who's your biggest fan? It's the person that will get you home safely after a night of drinking. It's the person who looks out for your life to make sure you leave the stadium with someone sober. This could be a designated driver or someone who offers to get you a ride share. Because in Tennessee, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
We are back, and Casey Patrick is waiting for us over in West Middle, Tennessee.
Hi, how are y'all? My name is Casey Patrick. I'm a sports reporter for the Dixon Post, Cheatham County Exchange, and the Hickman County Times. I'm going to give you a quick rundown in just a few of the games that are in my coverage area coming up this week for some football. On Friday, I'll be at the Creekwood and Battle Creek game. That'll be that's at Creekwood on Friday night. Creekwood's 0-4. They've held a lead in the second half of every game this year. Battle Creek's a brand new school and a brand new program. Red Hawks looking to get into the win column there. Also on Friday night, in a different county, but also on Friday night, East Hickman is hosting Waverly Central. That should be a really fun game. East Hickman's only 2-1 because there was 1 week, the weather 2 weeks ago, they weren't able to play. But Waverly Central's 4-0. They were 0-10 last year. They're 4-0 now. So a big turnaround for the Tigers. That could be a really fun game on Friday night. And then and we've got a Saturday game. Saturday at 11 out in Charlotte. Dixon County's playing at Creekwood, but they're hosting Northwest. So a big region game there for Dixon County but their second chance at a region opportunity after last week's loss to Henry County. Dixon County lost big on the road. It was their first loss of the year at Henry County. So looking to get back in the win column. So that's all the games not all the games, but a lot of the games I've got coming up this weekend. Thank y'all and have a good evening.
Thank you, Casey. We will stay in West Middle Tennessee for our final preview of the week with Wade Neely.
What's up, folks? Wade Neely here. I am your sports editor down in Hickman County, Cheatham County, and Dixon County, and it's time for an update on all of our Week 5 high school football action here in our coverage area. And we got a big slate as we kick things off. We kick things off as we do each and every single week. Haven't been shouting them out, but we might as well do it. Thursday night football, our Main Street Preps game of the week this week. Casey Patrick and I bring you the call each and every single Thursday, and this one should be a dandy on Thursday night as Portland will make the trip up to Greenbrier. It should be a fun showdown. Panthers and Bobcats to kick things off on a Thursday night. Now, on to Friday and on to my coverage area. Should be a big battle. Casey's going to tell you a lot about Creekwood and Battle Creek, but that should be a fun showdown. As for me, I'll be on the sidelines Friday night over in Pleasant View as Harpeth, fresh off a big win versus rival Cheatham County, got another rivalry coming up this week as they get set to take on the high-flying Sycamore War Eagles. Expect a lot of points in this game. Sycamore scored 78 points in their Week 4 victory versus Stewart County. So it's going to be kind of up to Harpeth to either really slow them down or try and match paces and match scores. But it should be a good game, a fun rivalry showdown on Friday. Cheatham County, fresh off that loss to Harpeth, they hit the road, but they're at Innovation Academy, who all of a sudden playing with a little confidence. Innovation Academy picking up its first ever varsity win last Friday. So that should be a big tussle as those two teams will get it on. Finally, Casey's going to tell you more about East Hickman, but I want to tell you guys about Hickman County. The Bulldogs, they have not played well after getting off to a great start, winning their opener at Harpeth, but they got Montgomery Central coming to town. Anytime you make the trip down to Centerville, you're up against a tenacious Bulldog team and a ferocious Bulldog crowd. So hopefully the folks down in Centerville with a belly full of fish camp will have them ready to go on Friday night. That's a look at all of the schools in my area for Week 5. Casey's got the rest, and we will see you guys next time here from Middle Tennessee.
And that does it for this week's Main Street Media TV High School Football Preview Show. Just a few notes before we go. Make sure to catch Wade and Casey each week with the Main Street Media Radio Thursday night game of the week. They will be in a high school stadium in Middle Tennessee each week with their broadcast scheduled to start each Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Make sure to watch your local newspapers, social media pages, or download the Main Street Media TV app to keep up with all our local football and other sports coverage every single day. Also, don't miss our weekly Main Street Media TV High School Football Wrap-Up Show with these same sports editors and reporters who are covering your school's team every week. The wrap-up show is scheduled to drop every Tuesday at 1 p.m. during the high school football season. I hope you enjoyed the show and maybe got a little fired up for this week's high school football action in your town. We'll be right back here next Thursday with the high school football preview show from Main Street Media TV.